We are ready, Ikramul.
Okay. Yeah, the slides okay for you?
Yes, yes. But the audio is a little shaking.
Is my voice clear? Or I will try without video. Is it if it is okay?
That's fine.
Is it
That's
good
fine.
now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, sorry. Maybe there are some internet interruption here. That's why it will be okay after a while. Okay, shall I start? So
Yes, you may
welcome
start.
everyone. Welcome everyone. So this is presentation about silicon graphite. This is about the lithium and battery. And as you already know, everybody, that lithium ion battery is the most promising and the most desirable the battery in the world right now, because of the the world is going actually after it. The Europe, America, everybody is planning that in 2030 there will be no combustion engine vehicle. So we are heading towards it. So we have to prepare for it. So if you can make yourself skilled on that topic, I mean, you will be very demandable in the world, in the job market, everywhere. So I hope it is okay, right? The voice, Mr. Nelson?
The sound is not very clear. On my end, for example, I am somewhat struggling to get everything that you are saying. I can manage to have some form of composite, but the audio is not very clear.
Better? Or do you think? Is the same?
That is a little better. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Okay. Then I will try like this without the headphone.
Okay.
So this is the content of today's presentation. Today I will be first introduce you with the lithium and battery, because I have done a couple of classes on lithium and battery, but everybody might not be familiar with the lithium and battery. So I will choose to first I'll choose to talk on lithium and battery first. Then I'll go to the anode. Then I'll go to the silicon graphite composite anode, and the last point. So if I go to the lithium battery, maybe all of you might have heard about it, the lithium and battery and lithium. If you see the screen, I will give you. If you want to find the lithium inside the periodic table, you will see lithium just after hydrogen. So, and helium. So it is the just third element in a periodic table. That means it is the lightest element, and the good thing is it is a metal. So it is a lightest metal, and it has very low density, which is just 0.53 milligram per centimeter cube. So it's suitable for storage, and as you know, that during charging and discharging, lithium ions actually pass through the membrane, and it goes to anode and cathode back and forth. So you need a very small and very compact size ion, and lithium ion can do this for you because it's very small in size, and it has very high specific capacity, and it has a very longer cycle life. Maybe you already heard about the lead acid battery, and it is not that much popular right now because lithium battery is taking it over, and that is what the reason why lithium and battery is more popular than other. So
I am so sorry to intervene again, Hassan. I am very, very, very sorry, really. The sound issue is still there. I don't know if you can use another microphone or if, I don't know what
Okay.
you can do on your end, please. Just try.
Okay. Because maybe the Zoom is creating problem. I'm not sure because I'm regularly using the Teams normally, and it has very good. There is no such problem happening earlier. Can you hear me now?
Yes, keep trying. Let's say you may continue if the problem persists. I'll jump in again, but let's continue.
Okay, maybe if everybody just stop the video, maybe it will be better for now. When we go to the question and answer session, maybe everybody can,
Okay.
open the video. I'll request just for now because maybe today there is some instability in the connection.
Okay. All right.
Isn't it? Is it better when everybody
Let's go a
opens the
little
video?
slower so that we can eventually get the words very clearly. Just don't go too fast so that we can grab every piece of sound that you are producing.
Okay. Okay. So I hope it is better now when the video is off. Isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. So I will try to make it more closer. So lithium-ion battery, as you can see here, there is a cathode which is made of lithium metal oxide. So this is that one. It can be lithium cobalt oxide. That means a lithium and a metal oxide together. So lithium metal oxide. And in anode, you have graphite, as you can see here. Graphite is actually the most common anode that can be found in a lithium-ion battery. There are more anodes. There are a lot of anodes. People are working on that, and there is silicon as well. So what happens when you charge a battery? Actually, when you charge a battery, the anode is actually taking part in discharging because lithium source is only at the cathode side. As you can see here, lithium metal oxide. In that side, there is no lithium. This is actually came from here. So lithium metal oxide is only source of lithium. So when you charge it, that is when you give external electricity from outside, this lithium actually knocks down to the anode, as you can see here. And this is why this happens, because this plate, which is cathode plate, or that current collector, is positively charged and this negatively negative side. So lithium ion is also positive. So this positive and positive repels, and it goes through the electrolyte and reaches to the anode, which is graphite. And when you discharge it, that means when you take the electricity from it and connect a load here, the exact opposite things happen. The lithium ion goes back to here and the electron moves through this direction. And a circuit filled up, and you can see the light. You can use a load here. So there is an specialty with this electrolyte. This, as you already know, that salt water is a great conductor of electricity. But this electrolyte is also salt, composite of lithium salt. But the very interesting thing about this electrolyte is that it does not actually conduct the electricity. Only the only the lithium can be, go back and forth for this electrolyte. Any other things, no electron, no electricity can be passed through it. That's why this electrolyte is a salt-based liquid, but it is not exactly a good conductor of electricity. It is just a good conductor of lithium ion. That's the specialty of this electrolyte. That's why you can tell, okay, there is a liquid between this. Why there is no electricity or short circuit formed here? Because of that reason. Only lithium passed through it. So if you get confused, sometimes people get confused of charging and recharging. Just remember one thing, that when you charge the battery, anode gets the lithium. If you remember it, the other thing you will already know it, because exactly opposite things happen. And this is also called lithiation. That means lithiation of anode. Anode gets the lithium inside it. And this, as you can see here, there should be some space for this lithium to stay, because you have to store this lithium, and that is called energy storage. This lithium becomes the storage source, and that's how it works as an energy storage. Lithium ion is storing inside anode. So that is the lithium-ion battery basic idea. Now we will go to the anode. And what is anode? As you already saw in the previous slide, that anode is actually the negative electrode, and cathode is positive. Why positive? As I said, lithium is positive ion, so lithium or cathode plate might be positive. So anode is negative electrode. So as an anode, as I already mentioned, we have graphite, we have silicon, we have a lot of other materials as well. But graphite and silicon is our topic today, so we'll be focusing on that. If you know what is graphite, you already, or you all have your pencil with you, right? So when you have a lead, pencil lead, and you see it a black, and when you make a line on the paper, you see a black line. This is actually graphite, and this is very conducting, and this is carbon-based material. And there is another good property that it is very, it is very slippery. If you put your hand in this lid and rub it, you'll feel it. This is slippery. Why? This is the reason of the internal structure of the graphite. Actually, the layers of the graphite stays like this, one after another in a hexagonal structure. That means this upper portion is the hexagonal part, and the lower hexagonal part has a gap in the middle of it. And this gap is about 0.14 nanometer, well enough to hold a lithium ion inside it, because the lithium ion is much smaller than this gap. Again, you can see in this hexagonal structure, between this hexagonal shape, there is also a space. Lithium can also stay in this space as well. So that's how the lithium is stored inside the graphite. And what is the good thing of the graphite? The advantage that it has hexagonal plates that is in a distance away from each other. So actually, graphite is a form of carbon, and it is actually crystalline. When you have a regular structure, it's graphite. When you have a irregular structure, but also carbon composite or carbon-based material, you have an amorphous carbon. That can be also important for our silicon, because we will be talking about the silicon carbon composite, graphite composite, and in that point, you need to coat the silicon with amorphous carbon. I will tell you what is the reason of that soon. So there are a number of ways that you can do the coating. There is CVD, that means chemical vapor deposition, PVD, physical vapor deposition, adding carbon nanotube. You heard about it maybe. Carbon nanotube is actually a form of graphite, but a single layer of graphite folded in a form of cylinder. One single sheet. This is called CNT. Ball milling, two different material together, and nanostructuring silicon particles. If you can make the silicon particle size in the nanoscale, it will also give you a good property in your anode. So everything will be discussed in the later slides. First, if we talk about anode, there are three types of anode, which is natural graphite that can be mined, the graphite, and in the plant. You already all know that when you burn something, you actually get some black carbon, right? But this carbon is actually not usable in the lithium battery. You have to have this carbon as a crystalline carbon in graphite format. So if you have a graphite, if you have a carbon, you have to burn it, or you have to, put in a temperature above 700 degrees Celsius to make it battery grade carbon. So you can mine it. There's even graphite mines around the world, but you can also make it from the plants. If you burn the plants in a certain degree and in a certain environment, you can also get graphite. There's artificial graphite. There is blended graphite as well. So these are the graphite anode that is available in the market. If you also see this chart, you can also understand where actually graphite capacity lies and where is silicon. So if you see this graphite has high conductivity and receipt, but it has low capacity, just 372 milliampere hour per gram. So if you want to understand what is this milliampere hour per gram, to clarify it, I will explain like this. If you have 1 gram of graphite with you, you can get 372 milliampere current for 1 hour. That's very easy to understand. That's why we call milliamp hour per gram. That means if 1 gram of graphite can give you 372 milliampere current for 1 hour. If you double the current, your time will be half. If you make the current half, your time will be get doubled. So that's how you interpret and you can understand this milliampere hour per gram. It's called specific capacity or theoretical capacity. But it has a problem with poor compatibility with electrolyte. All types of electrolyte do not perform well. Also, you can see it has very low capacity. When you have low capacity, that means you need more of that material, right? So if you have a, if you I hope the problem is solved to some extent, right? The sound problem,
I would say
Mr.
yes.
Elson?
Yes, but some participants continue to complain about the quality and the level of the sound, but just do whatever you can do. If you can make it
Okay.
better, of course, we would highly appreciate that. But if you cannot, there is nothing we can do. Just continue.
Actually, yeah.
You may
Okay.
continue then.
Okay. Okay. If others are hearing properly, then it should be okay in a few minutes. I hope. Okay. So this is the graphite problem. Then there is disorder carbon, this transition metal. There is silicon-based material as well, as you can see here. So you can see that silicon have very good capacity, which is just 4,000 milliampere hour per gram. It should per gram here. So 1 gram of silicon can give you 4,000 milliampere current. That means 4 milliampere current per 1 hour. But it has a problem which is significantly volume expansion happens when you cycle it. When you cycle it from charging to discharging, this has sometimes created some problem. So when you make a composite with it, that means you make a composite with the silicon and the graphite together, you get a better solution from that point of view. That means if you have a good just I will try to switch my internet so that
Okay.
just let me know if it is okay. It's better.
Okay, we are all
Is it okay? It is better.
It is better. Yes, let's try that.
Is it better? I hope it will be better now because I switched the Wi-Fi connection.
Momentarily, it seemed better, but then as you produce more sounds, the trembling, the shaking seem to continue. At some point, unfortunately, we might have to just summarize the remainder of the content because with the sound issue, it's a little hard, not a little actually, it's very hard for all of us to understand exactly what you are talking about. But let's keep trying, please. Hello, Ibrahim, Ikramul. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you, you are with Atlantic International University. And unfortunately, we seem to have a very, very big issue with the presenter. The video, he had to shut down the video because of networking issues on his end. And right now, because the sound was a little terrible to a certain extent, he has also shut down the microphone to continue with the presentation. I hope you'll be able to see what he is showing us. Like graphite anode is a carbon that is non-toxic. It is inexpensive and abundant. The carbon materials have indicated lower initially reversible capacities, higher cyclability, and faster mobility of lie in the solid phase. The carbon-based electrodes were developed to eliminate problems of lithium metal deposition and lithium dendrite formation. Those are the details that you hopefully can understand about graphite anode. You may continue, Ikramul. I'll just read whatever I see on the screen from your PowerPoint presentation, from your PowerPoint slide, and hopefully the audience will be able to follow with me and understand as we go through the content of your slides.
Okay. Okay. Shall I continue?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the point in where we are talking about the different types of anode material, and silicon and graphite is here. So the carbon-based electrode is also here. The carbon material, as he mentioned, has some problem. So if you see here that the silicon have a very good capacity, 4,000 milliampere hour, and there is carbon which is just 372. So if you make a composite of it, you can get a capacity in the middle of these two. That means in that point you will have a capacity around 2000 or maybe 2500, like this. That's why the silicon graphite composite is good. Now, what is if we talk about the silicon anode only, this is the good side of the silicon anode. High specific capacity, as you already know, easily available because you have sand, and when you have sand, you have silicon. You can get silicon from the sand. So easily available and can make composite with carbon graphite, as just mentioned. But if you see that, if you cycle it at the beginning, you get very good capacity, 3000, even more than that. But as you continue cycling, it starts decreasing the cycling capacity. Previously, it was 2000 milliamp hour per gram, but after 300 cycle, you have just 1000 milliamp hour per gram. That means it has very high volume expansion and pulverization. So what happens when high volume expansion? When lithium comes into it, lithium comes inside the silicon, it gets expanded. And what type of expansion? It get almost 400% of expansion of the silicon. That is called volume expansion. What is pulverization? During this charging and discharging and this volume expansion and the expansion, the electrode cracked, and that is called pulverization and delamination. So if we can do silicon graphite composite, we can solve it, and we will see how we can solve it. So maybe you can again make uh, I mean, a summary of the slide, Mr. Welsin.
Say that again, please.
I mean, you can make a summary if you want, or you heard it clearly. Slides.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen,
Everybody is okay now?
we are very sorry again. We apologize for the whole issue of the sound, which is due to network instability where our presenter is, but we're trying to continue to the extent that we can with that presentation, this class from our presenter. He is now having that slide about silicon anode, which is very, very powerful. It has a high capacity. You can find it everywhere. It's easily available. You can make a composite with carbon and graphite. It has high volume expansion, can be expanded. Those are the things that we can get right now from our subject matter expert. Let's continue on your end, Ikramul.
Okay. Okay. So this is how you can make a composite of silicon graphite. So when you have a silicon, I will show this one first. When you have silicon and you coat carbon on it, from the carbon source, you get a silicon coated with carbon. So it's actually the carbon coated silicon shown here. And you have a graphite particle. All the particles, when you do ball milling, that means you mix them well. During this mixing, you can actually get a very good composite, which is called silicon graphite composite. The ball milling, what it does, it actually mix the composite very well and homogeneously in the solid form. And then you have this solid graphite silicon composite with you. And you can use it as a anode material directly in a lithium ion battery. And if you look inside it, you will see that actually there are three different layers that is outside the silicon. The innermost is the silicon. The second layer is actually a carbon from different carbon source. And then the third one is graphite. That is graphite outer layer. Because why the outer layer comes, we actually cook it with the inner layer, which is yellow in color. This inner layer actually came from the carbon source. But when we ball mill it together, there is another layer outer film, which is graphite. So to eliminate the drawbacks that we have just seen earlier, silicon-based composites have been widely used for this reason. So it has very good combination. It has very good capacity, and it has very good electronic capacity. So that's how you make a silicon graphite composite. So what is happening when we make a silicon graphite composite? When you make a composite, then you can maintain the structural integrity because, as I said, silicon can be expanded very highly. But when you have make it silicon carbon composite, you can make it. You can mitigate the problem. You can stabilize the SEI formation in the lithium-ion battery. You can reduce the size of the silicon particles to minimize the cracking and pulverization of these particles. So the thing is, if you do this, you will get a very good silicon graphite composite that have these things, which is good for you with a good capacity, high capacity. And if I tell you what is the ACI layer, ACI layer is solid electrolyte interface. So when you have a solid electrolyte coming together, you get a solid electrolyte interface. And that means interface in connection of solid and electrolyte together, because your electrolyte is liquid, and then your electrode, which is anode, is actually a solid. So it forms an layer on the solid electrode. But with silicon coated with carbon, you have good quality of this type. So the thing is, you can get a very good solid electrolyte interface from this silicon composite. So lastly, the silicon graphite composite, as I have mentioned you earlier, when you cycle it, you get a very good capacity, stable at 1500. When only graphite, you have a capacity of 372 milliamp hour per gram. Right now, you have a capacity of 1500 milliampere hour per gram. That means you have increased the capacity of your anode with mixing of the silicon with the graphite. And I have researched on this, and I am actually working in a laboratory, lithium and battery laboratory. And we have also seen that if you mix a very small portion of silicon with the graphite, you get a very good capacity. And it is very good thing that silicon is also available, graphite is also available in the environment. So it is very good for the EV industry, because when you have high capacity anode, that means you can store more lithium, you can store more charge, but your battery will be smaller. It will be sized smaller. Why? Because previously you are using, for example, 10 kg of graphite. Now you can use just 1 kg of silicon graphite, because silicon graphite have almost 10 to 5 to 10 times of more capacity. That means your graphite anode or carbon-based anode use has reduced significantly. That is the reason why people are using the silicon graphite composite. When you cycle it, when you make a battery with it, you can make it very minimized, you can make it miniature, and your use of carbon gets lower. And as I've also mentioned that when you have carbon, actually carbon is not always from the natural source. You need to cut down the trees. Carbon is not good for every time. So if you can minimize the use of carbon with a small portion of silicon, and you have very good capacity, you can make a very good battery. And EV industry is actually running after it. So I mean, I think it is very easy to work on this lithium and battery from wherever you are, especially in Africa. You have a lot of natural sources, but you have I mean natural trees. If you can process these trees and make graphite, you can easily sell it to the uh, world where lithium and battery is being made. So I encourage you all to work on lithium and battery, and because the supply chain is very necessary for the industry. So if you have a very good source and you can work on that, and you can supply the graphite in the market or any other material, not only graphite, silicon, anyone, anything, it will be very good for the whole EV industry, and you can make a very good, you know, um, you can be a very good business. Also, it's a very good topic for your study in PhD or masters or anything. So that's all from my presentation. I really apologize for this. I need to talk with the Wi-Fi provider today to solve it. Hopefully in the next it will not be repeated. Thank you.
Thank you very